one anything other than trying to refine what I believe in as a coach and what I'm going to try to instill into our staff and to our players from a schematic standpoint to a philosophy standpoint. That's where the changes are going to come from.
A lot of people, had confusion. What is a co-defensive coordinator? Did you ever? Was it tough to have that role and have to share responsibilities at all?
No, not at all. I mean, all I tried to do is tried to make the linebackers the best I could, and help in any way that I could. From a coaching and a schematic standpoint as I could. But again, that's. I know where I am right now, and I'm heading forward.
Speaking of, I'm going to go back in just a second, which is that you had a really young defense last year, but now they are going forward. They're getting older. Where's your confidence level in those guys who didn't always perform up to what you expected of them last year, but now have that year of experience?
We're fixing to find out starting Sunday. I mean, it's easy to. The easy thing is to sit and talk about it, but actually getting out and doing it. That's where every single day we'll evaluate it and see where we are and see where the progression is. I think the exciting thing for our players, the way we've treated this is everyone has a clean slate. Okay, you got basically 2 new coaches coming in on defense. So therefore, it's whatever you prove to your coaches, and to me that's exciting for kids because every day is a new day. What you did yesterday doesn't do anything to help us win today, and that's where the emphasis is. So we have really, I think, tried to get them to understand that, look, everybody's got a clean slate. Doesn't really matter what Isaiah Bruce did a year ago, okay? It doesn't really matter what Carl Joseph did a year ago. That's not going to do one thing to help us win our first game this next season. So that's got to start. So I really like the attitude of where we are. I really like the confidence that I see in our players from a great strength and conditioning off season. So we'll see how that translates onto the field.
And mentioned the 2 new assistants. Just real quick, the 2 new assistants. I know you've had experience with them in the past. I mean, I'm sure you're looking forward to working with Brian and Tony.
No doubt. I think they bring. They're very unique. They're very different in their maybe their personalities, but yet I think the experience that Brian, guy played in the NFL for 4 years. He's had about, close to 20 years of coaching experience under some really well-respected defensive coaches. I think he's going to be a tremendous asset to us on the edge of our defense, which is vitally important. We put pressure on those corners at times, and fundamentals and technique and discipline from a guy who's done it before, I think will pay huge dividends. Tony's very familiar with me and what I expect and what I like in the secondary. Again, you go back last time we worked together, I think the last 10 games of the year in 2011, I think we were giving up just slightly over a couple hundred yards a game, people throwing the football. So again, there's a familiarity and a comfort there level. Plus, his ability to recruit this region of the country is a tremendous asset.
So I was going to ask a little more on Coach Mitchell, a guy who has been there and done it before. How significant is that simply because of the experience that you're adding?
Well, it's not just his playing experience. I think that's critical when you, especially at that position, because it's such a technique-driven position. A lot of people think it's just just put fast guys out at corner, and that's not really the case. It's one of those positions where if you make a mistake, everyone in the stadium knows you made a mistake. Where a defensive lineman can not win, not defeat his guy, or a defensive lineman can be out of his gap, but nobody really, But when you make a mistake at corner, everyone in the stadium knows you made a mistake and you got beat. And so therefore, you have to have someone that understands the mindset that it takes to play that position. And to me, it's always helped when you take a guy who has played at a very high level at that position. He's probably been beat a few times, so he really knows how to teach young men how to respond and be able to play with confidence at that position.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.